Most parents don't realize this, but the biggest mistake they make with picky eating isn't the food, the timing, or even the child. It's the battle. And the reason this matters so much is because the moment a meal turns into a power struggle, your child's brain quietly flips into survival mode. In that state, learning shuts down, curiosity disappears, and appetite drops even further. So if you've ever wondered why your child eats even less the harder you try, why every dinner feels like negotiation, pressure, or bribery, or why the same foods they ate last month are suddenly rejected like poison, this video is going to change how you see picky eating completely. Because the French figured out something decades ago that most parents are still missing, and once you understand this rule, picky eating stops being a daily fight and starts resolving itself naturally without forcing bites, without rewards, and without turning meals into emotional landmines. Here's the part most parents don't want to hear, but need to. Picky eating isn't primarily about taste. It's about control, predictability, and nervous system safety. Young children don't experience meals the way adults do. For them, eating isn't just nutrition, it's sensory overload, autonomy testing, and emotional regulation all at once. When a child feels pressure to eat, even gently, their body interprets that pressure as a threat. And once that happens, digestion literally slows down, appetite shrinks, the gag reflex becomes more sensitive, and suddenly the child who wants to eat anything is actually doing exactly what their brain is designed to do when it feels unsafe: protect itself. The French approach doesn't start with food choices, it starts with structure. In French households, children eat at set meal times, usually 3 meals and 1 snack, and outside of those windows, food simply isn't available. Not as punishment, not as control, but as predictability. The child knows when food is coming. Their body learns to anticipate hunger. And because there's no grazing, no constant snacks, no juice sips filling the gaps, appetite shows up naturally at the table. This alone eliminates a huge percentage of picky eating, because many children aren't actually picky, they're just never hungry. But here's the key rule that changes everything. Parents decide what is served and when. The child decides whether to eat it and how much. That's it. No commentary, no pressure, no encouragement disguised as concern. No, just 1 bite. No, you liked this yesterday. No, eat for mommy. When a child realizes that eating is their choice and that their choice will be respected, the power struggle evaporates. And when the power struggle disappears, curiosity comes back. This feels terrifying to many parents at first, because we're conditioned to believe that if we don't intervene, our child will starve. But the truth is, healthy children do not starve themselves. They eat when they're hungry. What they resist is being controlled. The French rule works because it removes the emotional charge from food entirely. Food becomes neutral. Meals become boring in the best possible way. And boring is safe. Another critical piece is that French meals are social, not performative. Children eat what adults eat, not a separate kids menu, not special backup meals, not a parade of alternatives if the first option is rejected. There is always at least 1 familiar item on the table, but the meal itself doesn't revolve around the child. This signals something powerful to the brain. Eating isn't about pleasing someone or avoiding conflict. It's just something we do together. Compare this to what happens in many homes. The child refuses dinner. The parent negotiates. The child learns that refusal leads to attention, alternatives, or snacks later. Over time, picky eating becomes reinforced, not because the child is difficult, but because the system rewards resistance. The French system quietly removes that loop. No reward, no punishment, just consistency. One of the hardest adjustments for parents is learning to tolerate discomfort. Not the child's discomfort, but their own. The discomfort of watching a child skip a meal, the discomfort of not stepping in, the discomfort of silence at the table. But here's the paradox. When parents stay calm and neutral, children feel safer. And when children feel safer, they eat more. Another reason this works is because the French don't talk about food while eating. No commentary on how much was eaten. No praise for finishing. No disappointment for leaving food. The meal ends, the table is cleared, and life moves on. This teaches children that their value isn't tied to their appetite, and that alone reduces anxiety around eating dramatically. There's also a rhythm to meals that matters more than parents realize. Meals start and end at roughly the same time every day. They don't drag on. They don't turn into 90-minute standoffs. A child learns that meals have a beginning and an end. If they choose not to eat, that's okay. The next opportunity will come later. This builds internal regulation instead of external pressure. Many parents worry about nutrition in the short term, but miss the long-term goal. The goal isn't getting broccoli into your child today. The goal is raising a child who trusts their body, listens to hunger cues, and doesn't associate food with stress. The French rule optimizes for that long game. There's also something important about repetition. French parents don't panic when a food is rejected. They keep serving it, neutrally, over and over without comment. Research shows that children often need 10 to 15 exposures to accept a new food. Pressure delays this process. Neutral exposure speeds it up. Another subtle but powerful difference is that French parents eat confidently. They don't hover, they don't monitor, they model enjoyment. Children are wired to imitate, not obey. When they see adults eating a variety of foods without stress, their brain logs that as safe. If this sounds too simple, that's because it is, and that's why it works. Picky eating thrives on complexity, emotion, and inconsistency. The French rule strips all of that away. Now, there will be pushback at first, especially if your child is used to control or negotiation. Expect resistance for a few days, maybe a week. This doesn't mean it's failing. It means the system is resetting. Stay calm. Stay consistent. The moment you cave, the old pattern locks back in. It's also important to understand that appetite fluctuates wildly in young children. Growth spurts come and go. Some days they eat like birds, other days like adults. This is normal. What isn't normal is teaching a child to ignore their hunger signals to meet someone else's expectations. Parents often ask, "What if my child only eats bread or pasta?" The answer is boring but reassuring. If that's what they eat at a meal, that's what they eat. Over time, variety expands, especially when food stops being emotional. Another thing the French do well is they don't label children as picky. Labels stick. When a child hears you're picky, they internalize it. Behavior follows identity. Instead, food is treated as temporary preference, not personality. There's also no reward system tied to eating. No dessert bribes. No screen time deals. Dessert is either part of the meal or not tied to consumption. This prevents sugar from becoming a power tool. This approach doesn't mean being permissive. It means being confidently structured. Structure creates freedom. Children relax inside clear boundaries. If you try this rule and truly commit, most parents notice changes within 2 weeks. Less tension, shorter meals, more curiosity, and eventually, more eating. And here's the part no one tells you. When meals stop being battles, parenting gets easier everywhere else too. Because your child learns that you're calm, predictable, and trustworthy. That carries into sleep, behavior, and emotional regulation. Picky eating isn't a flaw in your child, it's feedback about the environment. Change the environment, and the behavior changes with it. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this: you don't need better tricks, you need less interference. Decide the structure, let your child decide the rest, and watch how quickly the battles fade. Because the moment food stops being a test of wills, it becomes what it was always meant to be: just food.